Welcome to Yankee Chronicle. I'm your host, Abby Peel, and we are again coming to you from the great work-in-progress New London Barn Playhouse. Today, David Keller, the pastor of the South Newbury Church, will give us a tour of their recently renovated historical building. Winfried Feneberg and Charles Lingille will tell us about the proposed STEAM wing at the high school and its need. I'll revisit a segment that I did with AJ at the Refinery Restaurant last summer at their smoker. And we'll close with a segment from the Warner Public Market. Don't go away because you won't want to miss this week's edition of Yankee Chronicle. We'll be right back.
At H.R. Clough and Kearsarge Heating, we sell, install, tune, and repair heating and cooling systems and deliver your fuel oil and propane. But we're much more. With more frequent major weather events, don't say again, I should have installed a generator. H.R. Clough provides the best home generator systems available from Generac. Our highly trained personnel provide you a complete turnkey installation. For a free estimate, call the H.R. Clough Company today. Over 4 generations of local ownership and dependable service.
There's a big difference between a big box store and a LaValle Middleton building supply.
When you're a local store, you need to compete with the bigger chains. So we've combined our purchasing power with over 300 independent lumberyard and home centers, and we've passed those savings on to you.
Our customers have grown up with our stores, and now their kids are shopping here with our kids.
We have everything you need for any home improvement project you can think of.
And the possibilities are endless.
If we had a motto, it would be neighbors helping neighbors build a community.
David Keller, the soon-to-retire pastor of the church in South Newbury, has been overseeing their renovation of their historic church. Let's join him now for a little tour. Hi, David.
This building was built in 1831 and was built by the community, not by a congregation with a denominational affiliation. And it was built in the assumption that a community in New Hampshire needs a place for people to worship, and we'll figure out how to get a preacher in here once we got the building done. So that was the original impetus for this building. We have an extensive architectural history which someone did for us and is on our website. And clearly you have a building that's got the 2 aisles, and you had a different front. We now call it a dais. It was a chancel kind of area that was up there and elevated about 3 feet off the base of the floor. And so my assumption based on the architecture that was here when I arrived is that you had a classic situation where the pulpit was raised and the communion table was below, and that symbolized that the communion table isn't an altar where we celebrate a sacrifice, it's a table where we celebrate a meal. Those theologies are 2 different theologies of Eucharist. Probably 2013 or 14, we were beginning to notice that both of our buildings, this church building and the Friendship House building, former schoolhouse number 5, were in need of structural repair. And that started us on a thinking process that ended up with a visioning process. And the visioning process said, we want to be a church that's more useful to the Newbury community. That was the big vision. And that usefulness was going to be accomplished by a renovation of the Friendship House, still pending, that would allow it to be much more accessible to seniors, really handicap accessible, more flexibility in the use of the space. So the fulfilling of the vision waits for the Friendship House to be renovated, but the church building was the more urgent building with regard to structural issues. And what we did was, what our contractor did, was at the time that we stopped worship here, which was Christmas Eve of 2017, the ceiling was cracked and peeling. There were some chronic leaks there. An investigation of the superstructure above us found that trusses and purlins were cracked. The roof was beginning to sag a little bit. The steeple was beginning to lean backwards a little bit. I mean, there you could see from the outside that things weren't good up there. So a great deal of the work that was done on this facility was work that you can't see. Was fixing the roofing and the ceiling. And this ceiling was opened up completely for months until it got put back together. So that was the big ticket, but at the same time, we had a furnace that was in this vestibule area, and so when you walked into the building, you walked through almost a tiny little hallway of space. We moved the furnaces upstairs and opened up a really attractive vestibule, and we changed the front of the building so that higher dais area was cut down by half and opened up another 3 feet. So it's bigger and lower than it used to be. It really, in some ways, maintains the classic character of it, but it makes it a whole lot easier to use for worship. My suspicions are that the work that we did is solid, durable, lasting work. And things that were found during that process that needed to be addressed have been addressed. So structurally, I think the building's in very healthy shape. We may need to do some work with the foundation. It's not entirely clear how urgent that is. We suspect that at some point this building's going to need a paint job on the outside. That was not part of the renovation. But we did put a new roof on, so that, there you are with that. So my sense is, as a pastor and not as a contractor, is that this building has good bones, and the bones that were broken have been fixed, and it's got a lot of life left to it. We have a website, www.southnewburyunionchurch.org, that gives a nice introduction to the church. It's a free website, so it doesn't have that professional look, but it's got the information that people would want. We have a Facebook page, and we use that Facebook page to live stream our worship now. So that's, if somebody wants to check us out and not walk into the building, they can show up at 9:30 on Sunday morning on their computer screen, or anytime after that. Of course, those live stream things are saved on the Facebook page.
Thanks, David. It's so important to keep these wonderful historic structures maintained. Nice job. When we return, we'll hear about the proposed STEAM wing of our Kearsarge Regional High School. Remember, when you buy from a local business, you assure that the activities and institutions that they support will continue to be around as long as they are. Please stay with us.
At H.R. Clough and Kearsarge Heating, we sell, install, tune, and repair heating and cooling systems and deliver your fuel oil and propane. But we're much more. H.R. Clough installs water conditioning systems to purify your water and add life to your hot water heating system. Now is the perfect time for one of our expert staff to evaluate your needs. For a free estimate, call H.R. Clough today. Over 4 generations of local ownership and dependable service.
Simple solutions in a challenging world. Let Echo Communications make your life simpler. From the beginning, creating design through the commercial print process and ending with custom mailing, all easily coordinated in one place. Echo Communications provides simple solutions in a challenging world. One place, many solutions. Learn more at echocominc.com.
Warner's Main Street Bookends has been your community bookstore since 1998 and voted Yankee Magazine's Editor's Pick Must-See Bookstore. Bookends is a full-service store offering a huge selection of current fiction and nonfiction with children's book selection, toys, and games. Bookends has a huge card selection for all occasions, along with Main Street Marketplace and Gallery in the attached barn. 100% solar, Main Street Bookends of Warner is building your community one book at a time.
Welcome back to Yankee Chronicle. I'm Abby Peel, your host. 4 weeks ago, we heard from a couple of teachers at Kearsarge Regional High School about the value of STEAM education and how it motivates students. Today, we'll hear from a couple administrators on the nuts and bolts for making this project happen. Hi, gentlemen.
Hello. So today we are here to provide the public with a little bit more information about the planned project at the high school, the STEAM, the Science, Technology, Engineering, Applied Arts and Math expansion and renovation at the high school. So a few weeks ago, you have heard from two of our teachers about the educational innovations that go along with this program. Today, Mr. Lingille, the principal, and myself would like to give you more information about the physical space that we're trying to create, the size of the project, and also the rationale behind the project. So we have analyzed our profile of the graduates in the Kearsarge Regional School District over the past 5, 6, 7 years, and have noticed that while 75% of our students then continue into a 2 or 4 year academic path or the college, there are about a quarter of our students that do not choose a post-secondary solution at this point. So addressing the specific needs of students that do not choose to go to college right after high school, we have been looking at solutions to provide more skills, more training, more preparation for this segment of our population. We're trying to add options for jobs in our communities, for career paths that kids might choose at this point without post-secondary education. So what we are not trying to do is replace the career technical school in Concord. Those programs are very valuable, and approximately 20 to 30 students every year benefit from those offerings. What we are trying to do is enhance and expand our offerings in the STEAM area at our high school for those students. And Mr. Lingille will talk about some of the specific programs that we are targeting.
Thank you, Winfried. So, like Winfried was talking about, this is really targeting those 25% of the kids. And the way I like to talk about STEAM, which is such a jargon word that unless you're in education every day, you probably don't know what it means. It's the classes that we probably, as kids ourselves, loved the most about school. Art classes, shop classes, culinary programs, and these things have come around now where we're starting to see in education an intrinsic value to math, science, and connected to these areas by having students do these hands-on projects where they can be excited about school. Currently right now, 30 to 40% of the students that want to take these classes each year get a chance to do so because the space is so small. It doesn't fully meet the needs of the kids that want to take this, never mind if we grew the interest of students to take these classes. For instance, we have one small art classroom that's about 850, 900 square feet. Sounds large, but we're trying to put 3-dimensional art, 2-dimensional art, jewelry making, ceramics, painting, printmaking, all these things into one small tight space, along with the storage and the kiln that goes into that. And then if you go into our culinary class, currently we have one working stove and station for students to get around and cook. And to try and involve maybe the physics kids or physical science, some of these required classes that students go through graduation, to come down and partner into these classes and grow the size would be next to impossible. I mean, as you can imagine, trying to cook in your own kitchen with 20 students with one stove, that would be impossible. But that doesn't work for day-to-day learning. In a woodshop class, we are using the same tools that were used 50, 60 years ago when there are so many advancements in modern manufacturing, including robotics and CNC routers and these things that do a lot of the labor-intensive work of the construction industry, of the manufacturing industry. And we have some of those components, but it's really hard to use them because the space also has to have the traditional wood lathes and the bandsaw and the chop saw and all those other things that we have to also build the components that go with it. So this expansion would allow us to be able to use modern manufacturing with all of the old technology at the same time.
Thanks, guys. What a real-world solution for bringing students with different interests together. When we return, I'll revisit a segment that I did at the Refinery Restaurant last summer. I can already taste the BBQ. Now these words from some of the good folks that make your Yankee Chronicle possible.
At H.R. Clough and Kearsarge Heating, we sell, install, tune, and repair heating and cooling systems and deliver your fuel oil and propane. But we're much more, with more frequent major weather events. Don't say again, I should have installed a generator. H.R. Clough provides the best home generator systems available from Generac. Our highly trained personnel provide you a complete turnkey installation. For a free estimate, call the H.R. Clough Company today. Over 4 generations of local ownership and dependable service.
Simple solutions in a challenging world. Let Echo Communications make your life simpler. From the beginning, creating design through the commercial print process and ending with custom mailing, all easily coordinated in one place. Echo Communications provides simple solutions in a challenging world. One place, many solutions. Learn more at echocominc.com.
There's a big difference between a big box store and a LaValle Middleton building supply.
When you're a local store, you need to compete with the bigger chains. So we've combined our purchasing power with over 300 independent lumberyard and home centers, and we've passed those savings on to you.
Our customers have grown up with our stores, and now their kids are shopping here with our kids.
We have everything you need for any home improvement project you can think of.
And the possibilities are endless.
If we had a motto, it would be neighbors helping neighbors build a community.
Welcome back to Yankee Chronicle. I'm your host, Abby Peel. It's always yum time at the Refinery Restaurant, but there's a lot that goes on to be ready for your visit. Here's my interview with smoker extraordinaire AJ. Welcome back to Yankee Chronicle. I'm your host, Abby Peel, coming to you from the Refinery Restaurant here in Andover. And I'm super excited. This is going to be one of our hottest interviews ever because we're here at the barbecue pit with the pit master, AJ Giglio. Hi, AJ. How are you?
Fantastic. Thanks.
This is so exciting to be right here, and also worth mentioning our first unmasked interview.
We are so excited.
So this is really exciting. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your history first, being a pit master, and then we can go into what everything is out here.
Well, I've been cooking barbecue, playing around with it easily for over 15 years. I got started in upstate New York where I was going to college out in Syracuse. Dinosaur barbecue, very famous. And then I had a background in engineering and started building smokers and the grills that we use around here, and just took off from there. And I always had a passion for cooking, and then when you meet up with one of the greatest, and Brian McKenzie, like, it's just a no-brainer to do something that you want to do, you know?
Yeah, and you guys have had great success in the short time that you've been open, which is fantastic.
Crazy success. I mean, when you go from cooking 3, 4, 5 briskets, I just did a Facebook post about this, but last calendar year, we did over 20,000 pounds of brisket alone. That's really what we're becoming known for.
That's amazing. Yeah. So let's talk about what's happening here, because there's a lot going on. We can smell it. I wish viewers could smell it, but tell us about the process of smoking and the day-to-day operation.
Sure. We like to do things authentically, so we're using a lot of charcoal, lump charcoal, but especially hickory. We flavor with hickory. It's native to the area, but it gives all of our poultry and our ribs, our pork, our beef, all that flavor that everybody has really come to love.
Cool.
So we smoke it for 6, 8, 10 hours at least.
Okay.
And on a warm day like this, it'll probably go a little bit quicker, but there really is a little bit of a science to it with the humidity, and they call it the air is stratified within the smoker, but we'll give you a sneak peek inside.
Yeah, I want to see. I like to see. Yeah, let's see.
Today we're doing about 400 or 500 pounds of proteins to try to get the week kicked off. We cook fresh every day.
Okay.
So it's something that's really important to us. When we set out, food experience is number one for the refinery.
Yes.
So, so here's a little sneak peek of
wow.
goodness that's going on here. Oh, the little smoky.
So tell us a little bit about what each row here you've got.
Yeah, so what we got going on today is just a bunch of butts. So it's a bunch of shoulder actually, and so we'll smoke those. Then it's a little less sensitive on the heat side. It can handle a little more of that intensity. Then we're going to move up to our chickens, and then our most important, our bread and butter, if you will, is the brisket. This will go the longest, 12, 14 hours easily, and actually finish overnight.
Wow.
And so we'll get a good almost 20 hours of cook time on a brisket.
Incredible. So the brisket that you cooked yesterday is what anyone coming tonight would eat?
Absolutely. So things are starting to roll off, and if we get really busy tonight, some of this stuff can finish up early where our higher intensity heats are, but we're good to go.
And what's the temperature in here?
We like to smoke around 200 to 215, and humidity is the magic thing for doing barbecue like this. So that's
and in New England, obviously we have 4 seasons, so today is an unusually hot spring day, but what's like a -degree winter day due to smoking?
It just takes longer, but I'll give everybody that secret. Come and see me after a good rainstorm.
Really? So tell us a little bit about the refinery as a whole. Obviously you're fairly new in the last couple of years. What was the hope and dream here?
We really just wanted to kind of set the world on fire with a food experience, and we also love that social aspect and being part of a community where people could just come and get away for a little bit. You know, it's more about having a restaurant where everybody can come and solve some problems, but also have that food experience and the social interaction, and also the variety. Our menu's huge.
Huge.
You know? One of the things that people love is it is all over the place, and they have a hard time actually making their mind up.
Yeah, I totally agree. We frequent here, so I know exactly from that standpoint. You always think like, oh, what I had last time was so good, but I want to try something new, and it's so hard to do. Do I just stick with the favorite, or I keep trying something new on the menu?
Yeah, Brian and I are always walking around, so please wave us down. I mean, that's the other important thing to us. We're here every night.
Right.
And on a busy night, we don't get out as much because we actually are cooking. But, most nights we get out around, ask people what they have questions on with the menu, and we're happy to go through things. And you'll see as you continue to shoot here today about all the great things that we're making fresh in the kitchen with ourselves. We got a great staff.
Yeah, it's not just meat, though this is your bread and butter, like you said, but you have a lot of other great things, including some amazing desserts, too, which we're excited to show.
You'll learn about that.
Oh, my goodness. I know. I don't know what's better, the meat, the dessert. It's incredible.
All of it.
Quickly, before we let you go, you have some fun, exciting things happening a little bit behind us for the summer.
Sure. Yeah, we're looking very forward to the summer because we're going to bring the tent back. Outdoor seating, we feel, is very important.
Yeah.
It wasn't from just the COVID respects of things, but we really enjoyed it. And I think our guests did too, so we're going to bring back a tent. We actually purchased the tent. We're going to set that up, for a few months, and we're going to have a landscape area where we got some great outdoor seats that are uncovered, and we're going to try to get a little cornhole tournament going, some ring toss going, just an outdoor thing with some lights where people can really enjoy the great weather that we have right here.
AJ, thanks so much for being our host these 2 weeks. We really appreciate it.
Oh, I love it. You guys are welcome anytime.
Thanks. Thanks, AJ. You owe it to yourself to visit this very popular eatery. When we return, our camera will be at the Warner Public Market to learn of their mission. Now let's introduce you to these local supporters of your Yankee Chronicle.
Warner's Main Street Bookends has been your community bookstore since 1998 and voted Yankee Magazine's Editor's Pick Must-See Bookstore. Bookends is a full-service store offering a huge selection of current fiction and nonfiction with children's book selection, toys, and games. Bookends has a huge card selection for all occasions, along with Main Street Marketplace and Gallery in the attached barn. 100% solar, Main Street Bookends of Warner is building your community one book at a time.
There's a big difference between a big box store and a LaValle Middleton building supply.
When you're a local store, you need to compete with the bigger chains. So we've combined our purchasing power with over 300 independent lumberyard and home centers, and we've passed those savings on to you.
Our customers have grown up with our stores, and now their kids are shopping here with our kids.
We have everything you need for any home improvement project you can think of.
And the possibilities are endless.
If we had a motto, it would be neighbors helping neighbors build a community.
At H.R. Clough and Kearsarge Heating, we sell, install, tune, and repair heating and cooling systems and deliver your fuel oil and propane. But we're much more. With more frequent major weather events, don't say again, I should have installed a generator. H.R. Clough provides the best home generator systems available from Generac. Our highly trained personnel provide you a complete turnkey installation. For a free estimate, call the H.R. Clough Company today. Over 4 generations of local ownership and dependable service.
I'm Abby Peel. Welcome back to your Yankee Chronicle. Last March, Greg took our YCN camera to the Warner Public Market to see what they're up to. Let's revisit that visit now.
Warren Public Market is a local food and arts market on Main Street in Warner, New Hampshire.
We have kind of 3 departments. We've got food and grocery, focusing especially on local goods. Then a art and craft section, and an apothecary, an herbal apothecary as well.
So it was kind of an idea. We had seen this building that had been an art store in a former life. It had been empty for a number of years. We kind of came together and formulated this idea over a number of dinners together. So there's 6 worker owners that work together. So we did it as a collaborative. So we developed the idea of some food, some art, bringing it all together in this empty building on Main Street, and we got a lot of support from the other businesses on Main Street as well. So the space we're in is our mini market. This has been open since December. This was actually the exact same space that we opened in 3 years ago before we did the renovations on the rest of the building, so old customers might remember this space, but it's a chock-a-block full of more new, exciting products. We've got fans and vents and trying to make a safe shopping space. The rest of the store is closed, but we do online ordering, and so we do in person. So
yeah, another kind of neat story about the space. This is a 1800s old building. It's gone through a lot of transformations. We discovered after we had kind of signed the contracts to take the building over that this was actually the original general store in town back in the 1800s and into 1900s. Yeah, but it's nice to think that we're trying to kind of provide a similar shopping experience of that personal connection, that local product that maybe our grandparents enjoyed. In the same space that maybe they were shopping in. Well, we're in year 3 now. Yep. And we've kind of taken a slow approach, not taking on a lot of debt, but kind of building sustainably and slowly. And with a real triple bottom line kind of approach, which is a fancy way of saying that we kind of balance our environmental effect, our community and social effect with our bottom line, which of course a business needs to consider. We do source some stuff regionally because it's not available from New Hampshire, but hopefully through having more stores like this in New Hampshire will allow for more farms and makers and producers to start up.
And I think for me as a farmer, having a brick and mortar store where somebody else can take some of that work so I can be farming is really a benefit. And I think that's where brick and mortar stores, we're not shopping online, we're coming to shop in person, and having a knowledgeable employee behind the counter who can answer your questions is like the best thing that you can support in your town.
There was an interesting study came out by the Extension Service that participation or market share of farmers markets and CSAs had kind of plateaued for a bunch of years. So the question is how can we get more people kind of participating in the local food economy? So part of the, because also the CSA and the farmers market model and that direct to market model, which is fantastic, and our farms depend on that, and we encourage people to go direct to the farms as well. But that puts all that responsibility on the farmers.
And the same would be true for artists too. Artists and farmers function a lot in the same way, especially in this state. Going to craft fairs is the same as going to a farmer's market. And if you can get your product in front of more people in more ways, then benefits on everybody. So one of the things that we think is really cool about our store is our scale. We're small. We can take, just a couple things from one artist who's just starting out. We can have a conversation with somebody about price point. We can have somebody come and teach what they're doing in their own studio. They, printmakers, dyeing, batiking, basket making, all sorts of things. So not only can somebody see the final product and buy it for themselves, but they can come and engage in the process, which is a really cool continuation of that experience. It's not just retail, it's learning skills for yourself.
We're always looking for more New Hampshire makers and producers and growers. We kind of see ourselves as more than just a store. Like our community engagement, with that triple bottom line approach, we and our members and our customers, have been able to provide over $13,000 to the local food pantry this year. On the 26th, we're participating in the Waypoint Sleep Out event. So we're asking for people to sponsor us and donate to that. So this kind of idea that business, Main Street local business, is really invested in the community and is that when people spend their money at local businesses, not just ours, but any local business, a lot of that kind of stays in the community. And benefits local workers, benefits other businesses, allows us to support the food pantry, the Waypoint homeless shelters, these sorts of kind of cascading effects.
We do a lot of work with our friends over in Bradford at the Kearsarge Food Hub. We work with Main Street Bookends here in Warner. We are working with the Warner Connects here, the food pantry, the local. So we're just trying to reach out and build this kind of like community network and strengthen these community ties so that we can actually, our town and can be part of a web of resiliency with the surrounding towns. So that's one of the larger goals that we're working to be a part of.
Feel free to visit our website and shop WPM. You can see all our products and also send us an email from there, reach out. Yep. We love to have people be part of this by becoming members or just becoming customers or even just stopping by and say hello. So we're here open Tuesdays through Sundays. And yeah, we hope to see more folks come through on their way past Warner.
Thanks. Local is good. Check them out when you're in Warner next. Join us next week at this same time for another Yankee Chronicle coming to you from Ledyard Financial Service. Don't miss our football game of the week at ycnnow.com with replays on WYCX on Sundays and Mondays at noon and 5 p.m. While we wait for basketball to start, YCN will be showing the New Hampshire Division II Championship football game featuring the Lebanon Raiders. I'm Abby Peel. Join us next week at this same time for another edition of your Yankee Chronicle. Stay safe, everyone.